others to build our business. So Kimberly, I'm going to turn it over to you. You have ability to share screen, and looking forward to hearing your presentation, girlfriend.
Okay. Let's see. Slideshow. So first of all, I just want to say that the secret to success in a business like this is your power of persuasion and your power of speech, and communicating is the bottom line for getting ahead in LifeWave. So many of us have to overcome nervousness, and I want to share with you a confidence building mantra or sentence, if you don't like the word mantra, that my mother taught me when I was young and insecure and in high school. She said, Kimberly, before you do anything, before you go into that, classroom or have to stand up in front of the class, say to yourself, I will do and say the right thing with strength. And I used to say this to myself many times before such an occurrence, just to boost my confidence. So I want to suggest that to you as a possibility. The key thing with engaging the audience is to smile, both with your mouth and your eyes. Look individuals in the eye around the room as you speak, and try to use humor at the beginning. Keep a humorous tone in your presentation is also very, very endearing to the audience. So right now I'm just talking in general about public speaking, and next I'm going to get into crafting the perfect elevator speech, that perfect perfect 30-second, perfect 1 minute presentation. But these are things that I feel I've always done. I've always picked 3 main points. I've never written out the speech, but I'll do like a bulleted list of the 3 main points I want to share. If you can, connect it to a story, because stories are very memorable and retellable. And this is the thing, you want people to be able to go out of that encounter with you and tell somebody else about it. The person that you talk to may not be interested in the least, but the person they share it with may want your number. They may want to contact you. So to put power behind your words when you're public speaking, you want to change the cadence and rhythm to emphasize the key points. You want to be excited about what you're offering to the room. You want to exude and convey confidence, because that's contagious. You want to be specific about who you want to be referred to, so that people know how they can help you. If they get excited about your message, you want them to be willing to introduce somebody to you after they go away and get back out in the community with their sphere of influence. So the perfect pitch, this is a 5-step formula that I learned from a guy who's very big in B&I. He speaks on the National North American Convention every year, and he taught me this formula for success that really works for him. The 5 steps are your name and company name, the problem you solve, a client success story, stating the problem the client had, the solution you offered, the results they got, but most importantly, how the client felt about their results. Then you want to add a call to action, which is introduce me to the person you know, not introduce me to anyone you know or introduce me to everyone you know. You want them conjuring up in their mind that one person they know that has a similar problem. You want to bring that person into their mind and into their heart, and they want to be a hero to that one person. So this is very key to always say to the person you know. And then at the end, you want to repeat your name and a tagline. And I'm going to demonstrate in the next section how I do this. If you don't have a tagline, you would just repeat the name of your company again. So in our case, that's LifeWave. So the perfect pitch formula, I will demonstrate Kimberly Hartke's perfect pitch. Hello, I'm Kimberly Hartke, and I represent LifeWave Corporation, a global health technology company. The problem I solve is chronic pain, daily chronic pain causing suffering, causing misery. I'd like to give you a success story of my favorite client, Rick. The problem he had was sciatica pain from 2 back injuries on the job. He owned a chemical company. One time he fell on his stairs. The other time he was pushing a heavy barrel of chemicals injured his back. So he had such chronic pain. He was on daily pain medication. Some nights he'd be literally crawling to the bathroom because he could not stand up. He was getting cortisone shots every 2 weeks. He wouldn't listen to a tape, didn't want any information. He just liked the idea of holistic health. He wanted to try the patches and prove them on his body. The result was, in 3 weeks, his pain was reduced 100% in one leg, 80% in the other. Within 2 months, he was telling the cortisone clinic, I no longer need your shots. The emotions he felt from these results was ecstatic, happiness, and gratitude. He has since referred to me 5 clients, and those clients have gone on to refer to me other clients. So it's been a very profitable relationship with Rick. Please refer me to the person you know who has a chronic pain issue. That's the problem I solve, and I would like to be the hero to your friend. Once again, my name is Kimberly Hartke, your key to radiant health. So let's practice. I want to see if there's 2 volunteers, since we have a little bit of time here, that would like to use this formula, and I can go back to the summary page and present to the Zoom room here your perfect pitch. And believe it or not, this is very, very simple. So your name and company name, the problem you solve, and it can be a different problem than the one I picked. I just like chronic pain because that is sort of the worst situation somebody could live with on a daily basis. But you could choose vision, you could choose skin improvements, what have you. Then you want to tell a specific client success story. If you don't have a client yet, you could pick yourself, but just talk about yourself as though you were your client. You could also talk about a success story of your sponsor. This is what I did for many years. I didn't have a serious pain thing coming into the program, but my sponsor did, so I shared her story with everyone. Then you do the call to action, which is introduce me to the person you know, or I would love an introduction, or I'd love a referral to the person you know, and then your name and tagline, because by the time you've told that wonderful story, you've asked for their help, you want them to remember your name. This is something I often forget, even now, is to repeat my name at the end. That when they approach you after you've spoken in a networking group, they don't want to come up and say, hey, you. They want to come up and say, hey, Kimberly, or hey, Stacy. So that's why that's really important. But do I have some volunteers? Can we put it in speaker view so that if somebody volunteers, they'll show up on the screen? I would like to keep this on the screen, but I'm thinking if we could have the speaker view on, whoever speaks would show up in the window on the side here. Do we have any volunteers? Just raise your hand. And believe me, I did this in a group of 30 women. Every single woman got up and nailed the formula. Nailed it. So if you have to, jot it down on a piece of paper and then read it to us. But there's some people on here that may be comfortable, may not be comfortable. Do you have any questions? Maybe we should do that if we don't have any volunteers yet. I can't see everybody, but has anybody raised their hand, Stacy?
I changed it to the view where I only can see you on the side and whoever else would be speaking. All I can see are these people here that are there. I don't see anybody raising their hand yet.
Okay. Does anybody want to talk about the perfect pitch? Have questions about it or shared experience if you don't feel comfortable trying it yet?
I think the first thing to think of is think about a success story that you're absolutely obsessed with. We all have tons of success stories with people. Can you think of one right now in your mind? Just that success story. You could tell when Kimberly was kind of going through this, and then she jumped instantly into the moment. You could tell her energy shifted when she went right into the moment with Rick and what Rick had experienced in his life. You could see that shift in her. Pat, do you want to unmute and share one?
Sure, I just did this at a network meeting last Thursday, and I had 2 people at the end come up and give me their name and wanted to talk to me. So I think it works really well, so I'll go ahead. I'm glad you left this up. It really helps. My name is Pat Sendejas, Pat with 2 T's. I'm with a global lightwave technology company, and the problem I solved recently was one of my best friends who was struggling with bone density and had to have her bone density test, and she did that after 2 years of um, monitoring that, and she was absolutely shocked that her bone density had improved after 2 years. And she was only using 3 of our products. And very simple, holistic. I can't imagine how to express how excited she was. She said to me, "This is huge. I'm 79 years old, and to have your bone density improve after 2 years," she said, "really huge." And so, once again, I'm Pat Sendejas. I'm with Lightwave, and I would love you to introduce me to anyone who would like to consider holistic healing to use even as an alternative with other modalities that they're doing, because this is life-changing.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you. When I did my perfect pitch, I forgot to mention that at stage 2, the problem I solved, I usually do say with a light therapy patch technology. I tell how I solve it, and I'm sorry I neglected to do that. See, I'm still nervous talking to you guys. So thank you very much, Pat. Anybody else want to share?
Feel free to unmute. I know you guys all talk in front of people all day long.
Practicing this formula will help you.
There's Joanne. There's Joanne. Go for it. I was like, I know somebody's going to unmute. Go for it.
All right, Joanne. Go for it.
I'll give it a try. I'm not used to this network marketing thing, but I have been in healthcare for 35 years. So my name is Joanne Nealis. I'm with New Dimensions of Healing. I've been in holistic healthcare for 35 years. When I first found out about LifeWave, the first person I thought about was my friend Danielle, who had the worst kind of MS. It was the very spastic kind, and she had been in a wheelchair for a long time and had gained weight and was on 27 different medications. I had worked with her with craniosacral therapy several times, and when I found this LifeWave patch, ran into Dr. Stacy, and she put it on the back of my neck. I was facing surgery myself and haven't had surgery since then. She was the first person I thought of. And I called her up and I said, "Tell me what you know about stem cells." And she said, "I know an awful lot. I'm thinking about doing it. I know it's very expensive. My question is, whose stem cells am I getting?" I said, "What would you do if I said you could put on this little Band-Aid, this little patch, this sticker, and stimulate your body's own stem cells?" She said, "I'm listening." And I said, "Just do me a favor. If you've ever believed in me before, believe in me now. When I tell you, just order them, and we'll talk about it." And she ordered them. 6 weeks later, she was out of a wheelchair. 3 years later, she started using the patches about 4 days after I did, about a week after I did. And 3 years later, she went from 27 medications down to 3. And it's just been an amazing journey with her, walking her through it, seeing the changes along the way. And my specialty is traumatic brain injuries and spinal cord injuries and PTSD. So if you have anybody that you think that I possibly could help, please give them my name and number. Again, my name is Joanne Nealis, and you could reach me at New Dimensions of Healing, 704-756-9283.
Awesome, Joanne. I share Danielle's story all the time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
When I called her, she says, "You didn't really give me a choice whether I was going to order the patches or not." But I was just like, if you've ever believed anything that I've ever told you or in this work, believe this. Yeah. I have found what you need.
The Holy Grail of healing. Absolutely. Yep. That is the Danielle we all talk about that was in a wheelchair and on all those medicines, and now it's like living her best life.
What I like
Yes.
about that is that you are showing your conviction, your personal conviction, by saying, if you've ever believed in me, believe in me now. And so that's really a good thing to convey. Alicia, did you want to try the perfect pitch formula?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to tell just something. This whole networking, referral groups, all of this, in all my years of network marketing, I'd never been to one till about 6 months ago. And I was sweating. I was nervous. I didn't know anybody there. It was just torture to walk in. And I walked into the first meeting, and they do this spiel that you're preparing everybody for right now that I wish that I'd had 6 months ago. But I opened up, and I love that you said you have to start with something, give something lighthearted or humorous. And my tagline has become, because this is how I opened it, I said, "Hi, I'm Alicia Osborne, and I am the easiest referral you're ever going to give." And it just stuck, and people have, over the 6 months, referred me like crazy. And they always tease, "Oh my gosh, you are the easiest referral to give." And we even keep stats, and I've only been in the group for about 5 months, and I'm number 2 in referrals in the whole group for the year, because it was just a cool little thing that came to my mind. But this is excellent, guys. Everybody needs to screenshot this, and if you haven't been to one of these groups, if you're searching for new blood, we're always saying we're searching for new blood, you need to get to one of these groups and use this method you have here. This is great. Thank you.
Well, and I'm going to use your opener next week. I love that.
Yeah, I'm the easiest referral you're ever going to give. And what's happened too within the group is I'll say, "Hey, raise your hand if you're patching today." And so there's, patchers in the group, and they'll raise their hand, so that gives validation. And sometimes I'm having them give their testimony. I'll say, "Hey, can you give your 60 seconds? Can you say, something that's happened to you since you started patching during my time?" And that's been huge too.
Excellent. Love it.
Love that. Well, like I said, Kimberly, you just knocked it out of the park, girl. You've been doing networking events for a long, long time. And Joanne, even though you haven't, you still knocked it out of the park sharing yours as well. And Pat, I know you've been in networking events. And Alicia, congratulations for joining them. I always tell everybody, if you want to build your business and you want to be around professionals that are there to build business with you, join networking groups. BNIs, I understand there's a cost, but the cost, I went to a BNI last week with a girl on my team here local, and their payout per seat per year is $100,000. Payout per seat per year from the referrals that are being given in just their chapter. So it doesn't have to be a BNI, but BNIs are proven to work. I was in BNI in my last company in Indiana, and the second I moved to Florida, the first thing I did was join a BNI. And it led me to other networking events, networking groups, lunchtime groups, evening time groups, weekend groups, and my business exploded knowing no one here. But because I walked in the door and I showed up on a consistent basis to these networking events, I was there for business, and they were there to do business with me. And so I developed my first friends group here in Florida through networking events that I'm still with. Like I said, one of my brand partners here local has wanted to get into building her business. She doesn't have a network. And I said, well, then we're going to join networking groups. I'll go with you, and then you're going to take over and, go to those, because I don't need to go to them right at this point in my life, nor take time away from doing what I'm doing that. But I went with her to a lot here recently, and every single one I walk into, there's 3, 4, or even a half dozen people that I know from before COVID, because I networked up until right at COVID, and then I had actually stepped out as president of the BNI at that point in time, right before that happened, not knowing that was going to happen, just because travel took me away from it. But it's a huge way to build your business. If you're not in some in your area, there's a ton of ways to network with people. And again, they're there to give you business, and you're there to give them business. And it doesn't mean you have to give them business. But if you walk in with Kimberly's perfect pitch and Alicia's tagline, right, and those powerful stories like Joanne shared, I mean, serious, and Pat sharing her friend's, testimonial, those things they stick with people. They really do. And you get